The headline PCE data point came out showing that inflation was actually down 0.1%. Good afternoon. I hope you're gearing up for a nice happy new year coming up here this weekend. We are going to dig in quite a bit, although it is a little shorter, quieter week here between the holidays, but we do have a lot to cover because last Friday we had inflation, income, and spending data all come out ahead of a little bit of a quieter week here to kind of wrap up the year. My name is Brandon Steele, financial advisor with Mainsail Financial Group here at Bellevue. And our goal every Thursday is to bring to you the market news, the data, the trends we're watching, hopefully weed out a bit of the noise along the way. So I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. But just before that, we had pretty big data come out, and nothing groundbreaking, but it was important data, to say the least. So on Friday last week, right before the long holiday weekend, we had income and spending data come out. So income data came out showing that it was up 0.4%. Basically in line with expectations, and then spending came out showing that it was up 0.2%, which was actually slightly below expectations. So the reason I wanted to highlight this is more so what it means for spending moving forward, what it may mean for what we saw through the holiday season in terms of consumer spending basically heading into the holidays, and what it could mean as we move into 2024. If you watch the news, you might have heard a lot of the stories about the consumer kind of starting to show some cracks, maybe starting to slow down spending. And this is maybe a data point that could, kind of throw some fuel on that fire, so to speak. Throughout this entire 2-year cycle since 2021, where the markets have been not the best, we've seen a situation where we've had a lot of challenges in the economy, but the one thing that is shown that could not be broken basically was jobs and the consumer, essentially. And those two are often very, very closely tied. So I'm not saying that this is something that ultimately means that there's challenges ahead, but it is something to watch very, very closely, because with all the past challenges, again, the one kind of glimmer of hope has always been the consumer, and that's what's led to such a strong year in 2023, I think, is that resilience in consumer spending. Now, whether this continues, whether this is a trend towards the downside, we will have to wait and see, but certainly is something worth paying attention to. If some of the extra money in the economy is starting to dissipate a little bit, and it means that now consumers are starting to spend a bit less, that could be a bit of a challenge as we head into 2024. Although obviously we will, it remains to be seen what could happen next year, obviously, in terms of, interest rates, in terms of stimulus, in terms of you name it. So either way, the consumer is something really important to watch, given everything that we've been dealing with the last 2 years. And the one aspect that has been very, very strong over 2022 and 2023. On top of income and spending, we also had inflation data come out on Friday. So we had PCE data come out, and again, there's always two numbers that we want to pay attention to. It's the headline PCE number and the core PCE number. The headline number includes energy and food, and the core strips out energy and food, surprisingly, right? So the headline PCE data point came out showing that inflation was actually down 0.1% for the month of November. So obviously this was a great sign. We saw markets, kind of like this on Friday. Good sign that, maybe things are working in the right direction. Again, inflation, I still think might be a little stickier than many think in terms of getting back to 2%. We're still not there, but I think we certainly are heading in the right direction. It's just a matter of how long we stick at this 3%. I think we'll get there. It's how long we kind of stick at this, slightly higher number. So anyways, that was a really important data point. On top of that, core PCE data came out. That was up 0.1%. So again, if you look at taking out food and energy, the rest of inflation was actually still up. This is really important because ultimately this is what the Fed keeps pointing to as the main data point to watch. We hear less of it, of course, when food and energy are down, but it's important because food and energy are so volatile. So the core PCE data is meant to take out a bit of the noise, so to speak, and hopefully bring some more clear data to the table. So again, that was up 0.1%. So all this, that was in line with expectations. All this puts year over year core inflation at 3.2%, right? So this is what I'm kind of talking about. Question, of course, is how long does it take to get to, let's say, 3 down to the Fed's target of 2? And I think the Fed is likely to cut before we get there, although they say that that's their, their focus. But that is going to be the trickiest part. And then, of course, the question is, if we cut too soon, how does that impact inflation as well? So all of this is obviously a good glimpse into what we're watching in 2024. The Fed is certainly not done, not out of the spotlight by any means, because now the question is when and how much they cut, and ultimately what that may mean for inflation and the economy moving forward. So very important stuff to watch. Obviously, inflation remains to be kind of the topic of the year. But coming up next week, we get right back into the new year with jobs. So this week was a little slower. On Monday, markets were closed for the holiday. This week between the holidays is always a little bit lighter in terms of trading. But next week, we have jobs week kicking off the new year right out of the gate. Although keep in mind, Monday is a holiday as well. So it'll be a shorter week in trading to start 2024 too. So I think those are the biggest things we wanted to cover today, but I want to wish you all a very happy new year. I hope you enjoy celebrating the end of 2023 and get off to a great start in 2024. We will see you next Thursday at 3 to break down some of the jobs data that we get into next week and kind of kick off 2024 and share some things that we're watching heading into the new year. Have a great, happy new year, and we will see you next Thursday at 3.